Good morning, students. Video is for my students who can't make it to class for because you guys are having trouble with your Wi-Fi or because you work. Okay, I understand that. So today's lesson is right here. You can see it. It's titled Wednesday. We're supposed to go over it Wednesday, but with everything that was happening, I didn't get a chance to get to it. This week has been a lot of showing you guys how to use and navigate Google Classroom, the different websites that we're using. Okay, so the first thing is that you need to read the section 1.5. It's called Pure and Applied Chemistry. There's going to be a video, and the review questions is your actual assignment. So I need you guys to just watch this video and bear with me. If you need the PDF because you don't have the packet, it's right here. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, and the questions are down here. But let's go to our Flexbook, our PDF. Okay. Let me switch you so you can record. Okay. So on CK12, I've attached the link to the actual website that provide us the lessons for the packet. Now, 1.5, Pure and Applied Chemistry. So the first thing we need to discuss is what's happening. As you can see in this picture, it's an older picture because you can notice that this gentleman is not the most. First off, most of our scientists and our chemists use gloves, but some don't. But in this case, and you can tell that it's an older guy, an old picture, because look at that haircut. I don't remember anybody wearing that haircut. Is that the Justin Bieber from like the 2000s? I don't know. But either way, you can see that he's working with a lot of glassware. You can see that there's some chemicals um, in some of these containers, and you can see that he's pouring out into different containers. And this volumetric flask right here is sometimes used to dilute certain substances and solutions so that it's appropriate. It's the appropriate concentration for whatever it is that we're trying to do. Now, let's get started. So, how does this research enable us to understand chemistry? Well, how did chemistry develop? We need to ask a couple of questions. What is happening in the field of chemistry today? What can I do with a chemistry degree? And all of these are great questions, and they should be asked by students who want to go into chemistry. Research in chemistry or any other field for that matter is interesting and challenging. Okay, it has its own rigors and its own questions that are trying to be answered. Okay, and there's all different types of questions that are being asked. Um, but there are a couple of different directions a person who is going to be doing research and study, and different directions as in different types of research. So here we have two types of research in chemistry. There's a pure and applied. And this doesn't just apply to chemistry, this applies to just about every science out there. Chemists who study pure chemistry, their research is primarily to advance mankind's understanding of chemistry. It's concerned with a greater understanding of the theories behind how matter is changing in chemical reactions. Pure chemists tend to be less concerned with direct applications of their research. That is not to say that the pure chemistry can never lead to real world applications. Okay, but as far as the people behind it, applications of their concepts or whatever they're studying is not their primary motivation. That's more if you're trying to apply what has already been discovered. That tells you right there, that's applied chemistry. You are basically this type of chemistry is directed towards a specific or practical goal or application. You are trying to build upon somebody else's work. Okay, yes, somebody may have created a new element, but basically if you're doing applied chemistry, you're taking that element and saying, okay, what can I do with this element for humankind? or for animals. It's different. Every element has its different applications depending on what people want to do with it. Here you have some more examples of applied research.
So what exactly is applied research? Applied research is the application of gathered information relating to a specific subject. Applied research goes further than basic research. Basic research is finding information to prove or confirm a theory. Applied research is putting that information to use. It is used to improve real-life situations. Applied research can be conducted in 3 simple steps. First, you need to choose an issue that you plan on researching. Once you have your research topic, next you need to collect data. You can collect your data by looking at existing research, studies, case studies, and articles, or by gathering your own data by doing surveys, observations, and interviews to gather your research. Once you have your information gathered, you can review all the results to come to your conclusion. With these findings, you can then apply them to real-life settings. Applied research is done all the time by everyone. It is done subconsciously every time you look up something before doing it. Examples of this include looking up the reviews and information on the newest phone, and then buying that phone, or researching a destination for vacation, looking into different options, and then choosing one of those options for your trip. These are just a few examples of applied research.
So that cell phone, if we go back to that cell phone image right here, you can see the different types of iPhones. For some, for most students, you guys want to use the, fancy smartphones. But grandma and grandpa, they might not be so tech savvy, so they just want a cell phone to make quick calls. And if you're doing research to find which one is best for your grandma or what's best for you, that is applied research right there.
Information on the new. These are just a few examples than others. For example, students, the interior design industry, and the healthcare industry use it quite frequently. Students need to conduct extensive amounts of research and apply it to their field of study in order to fully understand the material taught. In the design industry, whether it is interior design, industrial design, or fashion design, applied research is crucial in knowing what has to be done and what needs to be changed in order to better a person's life. For example, a chair designer needs to know about previous studies and chair models. They need to conduct research on what worked, what didn't work, and what should be considered for the future of chair design. When all data and information is gathered, they need to apply that new knowledge to create a perfectly comfortable and ergonomic chair design. The healthcare industry is very similar. Researchers need to collect data on different types of medicine, therapies, diseases, and health issues in order to efficiently and safely rehabilitate people. In the field of interior design, applied research is part of every project. To make new spaces functional, designers need to know what works and what doesn't in the old spaces. Designers collect data by talking to the users of the spaces, such as clients and staff members. Observations of the old spaces are also important to see how people use the space and how it can be improved. The interior designer then uses the information to plan the new spaces in order to better suit the function. While creating the new plans, the designer needs to consider all client requests, as well as drawing conclusions about what would improve their situation. Applied research is necessary for us to learn about things we are unsure of and be able to use it in real-life situations after finding a solution to the problem we are having.
Okay. So those are some examples of some applied research that happens throughout the day, or in industry. Here are some more examples of pure research. Here you have, how is the universe formed? Is there life on Mars? What are protons, neutrons, and electrons made of? What are the properties of boron? These are all questions that really nobody has ever really answered. So there's still a lot of science going into them. On the other hand, if you take applied chemistry, well, you can look at here. It says here, laundry detergents. Laundry detergents back in the early 90s, 2000s, we didn't have a lot of different types of laundry detergents. We just had regular laundry detergents, the original. Now you have the one that's free of dyes for people who are allergic. You have laundry detergents that sanitize and not only clean your clothes, but they sanitize them as well, especially for that healthcare industry. You also have some laundry detergents that don't have as much water in them or need a lot of water. There's also they're also trying to improve how much pollution is produced. Okay, a lot of those laundry detergents back in the day had sulfates. Sulfates, if you don't know, they're not water soluble. So when it goes into our sewer system and our water supply, there was a lot of trouble with those sulfates because they wouldn't dissolve. Petroleum companies, on the other hand, um, they are trying to power vehicles so that they're more efficient. They're trying to create better lubricants so that the wear and tear on an engine, is reduced. There's the big one is the air pollution. We want to make sure that the fumes, the exhaust fumes that are coming out of our vehicles, aren't going to produce as much air pollution as in the past. Those are all examples of applied research. And here you have Miss Sergeant Spearman. She's working on aerospace fuel laboratory. Basically, what I'm trying to hear is she's preparing a flashpoint test. She's trying to figure out if there's going to be enough energy being released to propel our aerospace vehicles or jets. And then there's also some examples that are pure and applied. For example, you may be studying biochemistry of microorganisms that cause disease, and they may soon find information that suggests a way for a chemical to inactivate that microorganism. And the compound that is used maybe could also be used to cure other diseases. Okay. So, yes, you may be working on something, but that, towards one goal, but that work could lead to something else. A lot of medicines that have been discovered for certain people basically were happened upon by accident when people were studying other things. Hemoglobin is a protein in red blood cells that transport oxygen through the bloodstream. Now, while scientists were studied hemoglobin simply to learn how it worked. Out of the research, there came an understanding of how the protein changes the shape of oxygen as it attaches. This information was then applied to help sickle cell anemia patients. Now, if you don't know what sickle cell anemia, it's a disorder caused by an abnormal hemoglobin structure that makes hemoglobin's molecules clump up when oxygen leaves the protein, and that causes even more problems in that person's body. So, basic knowledge of protein structures led to an improved understanding of how to treat widespread disease and opened the door for other developments or treatments. So, yes, you may have been doing pure research when you started this study, but at the end there was different applications for different treatments of other types of patients or people that you weren't even considering this that you could be helping. So you got to consider that yes, there are two different types of research, but they can intertwine when without you even knowing it. Somebody else might read your research and say, hey, if I use this for that, I could help this type of people. Okay, so it's not just black and white. It's not just applied and it's not just pure. So don't forget, you will be having to do these 5 questions. If you have any trouble answering any of these 5 questions, you let me know. Just reach out to me and I will help you out. One other thing that I wanted to remind you that's due today is there's a journal for this week. Every day that we come into this class, I ask you guys to write a journal the first 5 minutes while I'm taking attendance. So for those of you who have missed I understand that you have other commitments or for some reason your Wi-Fi is bad, but these are the three journals that the students were writing about. The first one was Wednesday's, yesterday's was number 2, and today's is number 3. This is a homework grade, so I would like for you guys to also turn this in along with the 5 questions. Now, are you going to turn them in to one assignment? No, I want the journals submitted here where it says add or create, and then mark it done so it can go off your list. All right. And then you should have a second assignment that you're going to be submitting, and that is the one for pure and applied chemistry. If you need to look over any of the videos, you can go to the website that we just saw, this one right here. Or if you're ready to answer, you can go ahead and start answering. And if you need to read over, you have the PDF, and here you have the questions again. All right. And if go ahead and you can type it out on a Word document or just write it on a notebook and take a picture and go. Either way works. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you soon. Okay. Bye bye. This is Miss Hernandez. Peace. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.